Yeah.
What I'd love to have you do is just kind of give me a little bit more of a brief overview of where you're at right now, what your goals are for 2024, and then sort of the biggest challenges and or obstacles you feel like you're facing so that we can just tackle that right off the bat.
I started in commercial real estate maybe 6 months ago, like a traditional brokerage, investment sales, and retired, medically retired from the military. So this is new to me, but I have a finance background and what have
Thank you for
you.
your service,
So
my friend. Thank you for your service.
yeah, I appreciate it. It was an honor to serve. It was a blast. Currently, just built like they have me build like basically a database. So I have a whole database of properties, not all of the owners, not totally linked, but and then it was like, hey, kind of make 30 calls a day. And I'm in Colorado Springs, sort of by myself, and the brokerage is in Denver. I think the biggest obstacle is like I'm not even sure, okay, exactly what should I do to get deal flow going? Like how many calls do I really need to make? What should I be calling on? I have a finance background, so I used to analyze stocks. I used to be an equity analyst, and I did finance in a company for a while before joining the military. Comfortable with that stuff. I just really like how do I really get going to like actually get things moving as opposed to sort of like slowly moving along here.
I guess congratulations on joining the world of commercial real estate. This is gonna be a fun ride for you. Yeah, so let's dive in. I'm gonna do get on to Reonomy for you for a second here. Where are you based out of?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. Love it. Okay. So investment sales, Colorado Springs. Do you have an idea of what kind of asset you want to specifically target or what you have to target?
They want me to target multifamily right now.
Multifamily. Cool. Okay. And then what software do they give you access to? So I just have an understanding of what we're playing around with.
CoStar, and we have one seat to Realme, but you have to like make sure that nobody else is using it. Like if I needed to get into it and pull a whole bunch of data, I would probably just do it on a Saturday and pull it all and go from there.
So watch this, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to play around with Reonomy with you just so you can get a gauge of where to get started. If you're going too small of a market base, it might be very, very difficult for you to pull enough data, right? I'll explain what I mean in a minute. So if we're just going to, I'm just doing Colorado,
Yep.
multifamily, which we're just going to do multifamily general. So you're not calling all the rest of this crap. We're going to go to building and lot. We're not going to want to call anything that's past the year 2000s built. Probably not going to be something that they're going to be willing to sell as an, like, this is just where I would start is basically the criteria I'm giving you. Person includes a phone number. Let's do sales, not within, let's say the last 5 years. Because I'm looking at this number. Like how many properties do I have to prospect? Because this is your entire market. I mean, if we got rid of
Yeah.
this, right? So you have almost 10,000 property. Like this is your market. I mean, obviously you could get rid of person and we could just do company and person, right? So this is the entirety of Colorado, by the way. And because like obviously like I'm not going to say someone in the last 5 years is probably going to want to trade again, but fine. If you want to go here, we can even let's just say the last 12 months. So, anyways, this is the size of the entirety of the multifamily market of all sizes, like 5 to 50,000 units. I mean, like it's not a thing normally, but the point is
Yeah.
like all of the multifamily properties in Reonomy is only 17,753. So like that's all of the properties in totality that have a phone number connected to it in Reonomy. That's the entire state. If we just did is Colorado Springs in the same county as Denver?
No, totally different.
Okay, what's the county?
El Paso County.
So now this is just El Paso County. This is not Colorado Springs. If we went to Colorado Springs, we're gonna have an even smaller number.
Yep.
Right? And I want you to hear something. My average sales guy makes between 300 and 1,000 dials a day.
Wow.
Okay, using the dialer.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, it allows you to definitely hit some different metrics using a dialer. 2,800. My average sales guy would be done with this in anywhere between 2, maybe 3 days to a week. Would hit this entire list. What I want to be clear about though is that if that is the entirety of your market, the amount of times you're going to recycle through a list is quite frequently.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Which is why I'm trying to say what I've done is that I educate individuals on going expanding geographically because I live in South Beach, Miami.
Mhm.
I live in South Beach, Miami. I sell real estate in New Jersey. I have a team and I have teams in New Jersey. 90% of what I do business wise is in New Jersey. And the remaining pieces of it is really nationally, but mostly is in Florida because I live here now. But my point is like, you do not have to live 5 minutes from your market. It's a plus because it helps, right? Obviously it helps. And I've been selling in Jersey for over almost 10 years now. So like I really know the markets well, but it's like you don't have to live right next to it to sell it. That's why I'm just trying to say, like, be cognizant, like, hey, like you're gonna fly through this, dude. And it's like how like think about this. In the last 12 months, if we just got let's just do back to actually I'll do both, right? Let's just do El Paso. Sold within the last 12 months. You have 133 properties. Sold in the last 2 years. You have 362 properties that have traded, which means let's just take a running average. That means it's 180. I'm just fast with math. So it's like it's 181 in the last 2 years, right? So annually, 181 transactions occurred in the last each year. Okay, so if 181 transactions occur on average, let's just even do the last 10 years and see if that holds true. Well, wow, 181. You like that? Right
Yeah,
on the
literally,
freaking money. I swear I didn't do this before. Okay, I swear I
that's
didn't pull
funny.
your exact counting, but this is how it works. Okay, so exactly roughly 181. This is pretty cool data to see, right? So 181 properties have traded every year on average. Your market, which we just mentioned in this area, I'm just going to uncheck this box, is 2,900. That means there's 181 properties that are probably going to trade. 181 multifamily properties of all shape sizes, right? That are going to trade this year. It's like, think about it. If 181 properties are trading this year, how much of a market share do you think you can really capture?
Huh. Yeah, that's absolutely a fair question.
Right. So that's why I teach so heavily on the expansion of geographic markets, because it's like, okay, that's El Paso. We just talked about El Paso County. Let's get rid of this and let's do Colorado as a whole.
That's eye opening because I mean, what trying to get 10% of market share is a huge number in
Yeah,
a
that's
small
only 18.
market.
That's 18 deals, right? Right.
That's
It's like, so like, and that's 18, right? So it's like, this is why it's important to think like this, because if we go to Colorado in general, right, which now gets us to 18 and a half thousand, okay, in the last 10 years, there's been 10,259 trades, right? In the last 10 years. I mean, it's about 1,025 sales per year
yeah.
in all of Colorado, multifamily, all shapes and sizes, right? So it's like, again, in the entirety of the state, it's like now you have a much bigger pool to dive into, where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, wow, like there's going to be a larger market for me to possibly take advantage of. In the last 12 months, by the way, we're obviously, down 25% from what the average is, right? So this just kind of gives you some type of relativity, like, oh, okay, like, hey, if I want to take, like you said, 5% market share, hey, screw 10%. What's 1% market share?
Yeah, right.
1% market share is seven and a half transactions.
Yeah.
Right, 7 deals. How many deals does does your company do on the multifamily side?
I need to double check. I have to ask, but that's a great question.
Right. So it's
I'll
just
find out.
like, this kind of gives you an idea. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to probably outproduce my entire office right away. I mean, you could. I definitely think,
Yeah.
like, anything's possible, right? I'm a big thinker. So it's like, I definitely think you could. It's like this first year, it's like, hey, like, let's try to do like 1 or 2 or 3 deals, but like in still relatively 1% market share right now in this current market, still 7.5 deals. So for you to do 3 deals or so, that's still 0.5% of the total market share in the entire state. Doing 2 deals is 1% of market share in El Paso County.
Crazy.
That's nuts, right? Crazy, right? This is why it's important for us to look at, like, hey, okay, if you're going to call Colorado in totality of properties that haven't sold in the last maybe 5 or 10 years, includes a phone number. Let's see here, building a lot. This is, again, just what I would probably pull, right? Just to kind of give me the best ability to transact, right? That's probably too high. I guess you don't have high taxes out there. Let's do 15.
Now we have super low taxes, like stupid low taxes.
Wow. Holy cow.
Some taxes on buildings are like $3,000.
On how big?
Like pretty big properties. I'd say the low end you probably would be maybe 5,000.
So because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ballpark your tax bracket, right? Of like all the size properties you want to be calling on. So it's like maybe say 30,000 at the height. You still only, I'm just saying, like, this range of property, right? Because you don't want to call like $2,000 in taxes, because that's probably going to be a tiny little itty bitty baby property.
Sure.
So 5K to 30K in taxes, you only have and this is all of Colorado.
That's crazy.
You only have 1,234 properties that include a phone number, right? That are multifamily, like we just mentioned, 5 to X amount of units, built up to 2000s. Because if you're going to call it 2010 build, it's probably going to be, I mean, you could get rid of that if you want. It doesn't change a lot. And then just the tax basis, right? So anyways, like this is a very basic list, and there's only 1,462 properties here. And this is the whole state.
That's crazy.
So it's like, this is why, like, again, when someone says, oh yeah, you should call El Paso County. Dude, if I did El Paso County, this number is going to be like a fourth, right? So like I would prospect the entire state and have this be your target, right? Oh, sorry. Sorry, this is backwards. That's why. It was not within, it was in. Sorry. Okay, cool. Here you go. Anyways, 2,800. We saw this number before. 2,800, that's your market. 2,800 properties. Okay. So this is properties that haven't sold within the last 5 years. I mean, maybe if you want to even include, maybe you do the last 2 years. I mean, like, I don't know how specific, like how tight of a narrow we're going to go, right? Just to kind of exclude some stuff, right? So you're not going to be calling on things that are going to be a complete waste of time.
Yes.
So it's like, so your market's 3,800 properties. That's it. So you could do this in a month. Easily, right? So what I suggest that you're doing is that you're using the sales script, and on Mojo, Every time you have a bad number, you delete it out of the system. Okay. So you're going to sift through and be your own cleaning system. Everything that's a wrong number, delete it out of the Mojo dialer. Every time that you have a person that you get the correct contact information, delete it out of the dialer and then put it into a different group. You can actually organize it by groups, and then you're going to be able to organize it where it's like, oh, okay, this is a 12-month lead, a 90-day lead, a hot lead, however frequently you want to reach out to them. So the point is that you're going to be quickly cleaning through this list where every day you could literally call through the same list over and over and over again. Because actually what I would try to do is that, hey, okay, if you know that like, hey, 3,800 properties is your total market, what I would do is I would try to, I would break this into maybe 10 lists of 380. And the reason for that is that this way you're not calling on literally the same list every day. So break this into 10 lists or maybe 20 lists of 180. And then you could literally every day of the week, Monday through Friday, that's 20 days in the month, and you could literally hit a different list every day and not repeat with decent certainty. Right. And then this way, like every time you get somebody on the phone, you delete the number out of the system. So you're never speaking to that person again in the dialer. You can hand dial them and follow up with them, but at least you've confirmed they own the address or they don't own the address.
Yeah, that makes
You're
sense.
gonna only have, so this way you're only going to have data in Mojo of people who you've not contacted yet.
Got it.
Because the goal is that Mojo's data, like your list should go from like however many people in the list, and then it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually you're like, oh, okay, so I've reached out to 80% of this list. And I haven't gotten these 3 people on the phone.
Yeah,
Or these 40,
makes sense.
whatever it is.
That's a great sifting tool.
Yeah, this is where I'd start. So I'm going to stop share here. But yeah, I would start here. This would be like for the next 30, 60, 90, if not 6 months. Like the interesting thing about this business is that like the upfront piece here does not change. Your market size isn't going to change, right? Like the prospecting system doesn't really change. The conversation for the most part doesn't really change. It's just that what do you do afterwards to convert on those opportunities that come your way from the people who say yes? It's like, okay, well, that is always going to change. Like how do you then adapt and shift and follow up with these people so you can convert them at a high level?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. What other questions can I answer for you?
What are your thoughts on, I think I've seen it, but what are your thoughts on different asset classes in terms of like just focus on one asset class or?
So I'm a huge proponent of diversification of asset class over time. So like in time does not have to be years. It could be 6 months or a year. There's a lot of people who have a different opinion. This is just my personal, where it's like, I think you prospect one asset class for a little bit, get used to the conversation and how the lingo works. And then you could try another asset class. Because as you can clearly tell, you only have so much in this asset class. If all you focus on was multifamily, your market share is going to be very, very, very small. However, if you start adding in other asset classes, I mean, I'm just going to pull it. If you do retail, that's another 4,400 in all of Colorado. Same tax bracket, by the way. I didn't change anything else. 4,400, or let's call it 5,000 in the retail space. If you go industrial, you got 6,500. So all of a sudden, your market goes from being 3,800 to 3,800 plus 65. So now you're at like 10 plus retail, which is another 5. It's at 15. If you add in hospitality, commercial general, and office, all of a sudden you're at 20,000 plus. Now it's like, okay, well, it's like, okay, well, now if I get 0.5% market share, we're talking 30 deals, 50 deals, 100 deals, quote unquote,
Yeah, of course. The numbers play out. So, okay. And do you take things, so you're whittling down Mojo, and then where do you take them from Mojo and where do you put them?
So you put them into a CRM system.
Okay, it's like Follow Up Boss or whatever.
Yeah. So my teams use Follow Up Boss pretty frequently. It's just a really easy software. It's not commercial related or anything related. It's just a very simple, easy software to use. It has really everything you need it to do, and that's it.
How do you track buildings, like properties, or you just use it in Reonomy and leave it in Reonomy?
Yeah, well, I use Reonomy in my own software, which obviously we're doing Colorado, so you don't see anything. But in New Jersey, everything's tagged with different tags. A bunch of stuff has different tags. If I ever see certain information, I'll tag it with something so I can remember. Anytime I get a lead, I'll actually tag it in Reonomy as a lead. Okay. So that I'm like, oh, okay, like next time if someone else talks about this property, I can look it up and like, oh, I mentioned this as a lead actually. Or I can even like do a search when I talk to a buyer and say, hey, what kind of properties is this person looking for? This is what the property is looking for. And then I can literally check the box of like my tag, and I can see all the properties that I have tagged within their criteria.
Got it. Makes sense.
Also, listen, the phone number I called you on is my personal cell. So make sure that you save that to your phone, and then you could always reach out in the WhatsApp direct message.
All right, perfect.
Awesome, Greg. Great chatting with you, and I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah. All right, sounds good.
Later, man.